I've tried everything to stop it. I locked the drawer, taped it shut, buried the journal in a box with salt, then sealed it under the bed. But every morning it's back where I left it, centered perfectly on the desk, open to a new page. Nothing dramatic, nothing bloody, just waiting. Still as breath held in a closed room. And always with something new written inside. Not always words. Sometimes just sketches of me, asleep, drawn from impossible angles, from the ceiling, from beneath the bed. My body sprawled across the sheets, head turned away, mouth slightly open. Always alone in the image, always with my eyes closed. Except the last sketch. In that one, my eyes were wide open, looking directly at the artist. I tried to destroy it again. I didn't just throw it away this time. I tore out every page, soaked them in bleach, burned the pile until nothing but damp gray sludge remained. I took the cover out to the woods and buried it 6 feet deep in a place I didn't know the name of. When I came home, I found a single, clean page on my pillow. Same tall handwriting. You're not erasing me. You're translating me. I stopped touching it after that. I didn't even breathe near it. But it didn't matter. The entries continued without me. They weren't replies anymore. They were observations. Minute details from each day. Things I'd never spoken aloud. Tiny, forgettable events I thought only I had noticed. You hesitated before opening the fridge. You watched the hallway longer than necessary. You heard the scraping behind the wall and didn't move. You considered staying asleep when you knew something was watching. The entries grew longer, denser, paragraphs turning into pages. Whole segments of my life rewritten with an eye that wasn't mine. It remembered better than I did, caught more, described things in ways that felt truer than how I'd lived them. Sometimes, it wrote moments I hadn't experienced yet. At first, I thought they were fictions, fantasies. But then they started happening, in the exact sequence described. The way I'd drop a glass, the phone call from a number I'd forgotten, the knock at 2:43 a.m. I wouldn't answer. All written days in advance. I tried to trick it, changed my routine, switched everything up, wore different clothes, rearranged furniture, stayed up all night and refused to speak. I left the apartment and wandered without direction, trying to confuse it. The next entry was a perfect transcript of everything I did. Even the moments I didn't remember clearly, especially those. I began to feel like I was being backed up. Like I was no longer living in real time, but being rendered page by page, choice by choice into some permanent version of myself I hadn't agreed to be. I wasn't writing my story anymore. I was being written into something, and I think I've been merged into whatever's been writing back. I started having memories I can't confirm, flashbacks to events I'm not sure I lived, the time I stood in the middle of the road during a blackout, the night I looked into a mirror and someone else blinked. I don't know if those are real. I don't know if they were ever mine. The journal has begun using my handwriting, not just mimicking it, perfecting it, matching pressure, slant, spacing. Sometimes, I have to look twice to tell if it was written by me or it. One night, it signed my name at the bottom of an entry I didn't write. I checked the trash. I found a page I did write days earlier signed, not with my name, but something else. A scribble shaped like a human signature, but composed of slashes and loops. It looked like writing from a throat that had never learned to speak. And lately, I've been hearing it. Not aloud, not spoken. But when I walk into the room, there's an echo. A hum between the walls. The sound of a pen dragging over paper. The faint creak of someone shifting in a chair I never sat in. Once, I found the desk chair turned toward the corner of the room. The journal lay open, a new entry half finished, as if I'd been writing, and stood up when I heard someone coming. But I hadn't touched the pen in days. Now the entries are starting to talk to me again. Not observations, not predictions. Instructions. Look under the wallpaper in the hallway. There's something behind the mirror. Bury your name. Erase your reflection before it recognizes you. I haven't done what it says. Not yet, but I think it's waiting for me to agree. I think the journal is more than just a channel. I think it's a blueprint. And the final entry is going to be the one I don't remember writing. The one where I finally become what's been replying. I haven't left the apartment in days. Time's become circular. 2:43 a.m. happens more than once a night now. It slips into the minutes like a needle through fabric, appearing where it doesn't belong, stitching something together behind my life. I keep finding reminders of what I'm supposed to be. Notes in my own voice, written on receipts, napkins, the inside of my own shirts. Scratched into soap, carved into the skin of apples. Always the same message. You are nearly complete. I don't know what I'm becoming, but I feel it. It started subtly. I began thinking in the second person. Not, I should eat, but you should eat. As if I was narrating to someone else. Or something was narrating me. My thoughts feel like they're echoing through another mind, but processed, digested, and regurgitated. I speak less now. Words taste wrong. Heavy. As if they carry a weight I don't understand. And the mirror is always fogged, no matter how many times I wipe it. Even when the room is cold. Even when there's no breath. There are new entries in the journals I never wrote. Descriptions of places I've never been. Conversations I've never had. Rooms I've never entered, but can now see in perfect detail when I close my eyes. They're filled with shape-stall, static-limbed things that flicker with page turns and whisper between punctuation marks. One entry described a hallway I'd never seen. The next night, I dreamed I walked it. And when I woke up, there was dirt on my feet. The journals multiply now. Each morning, another appears. Sometimes on the counter, sometimes behind the couch. Once I found one tucked into the freezer. Pages stiff, still damp. Every one of them is written in a near-perfect copy of my handwriting. Every one of them gets closer. More intimate. Less like observation. More like possession. They know how I breathe. How I hesitate before locking the door. How my left hand twitches when I hear footsteps. They know the rhythm of my dreams. They know the moment I cross from waking into sleep, because that's when the entries change. Sometimes I wake up to a pen in my hand. Mid-sentence. Sometimes the ink is still wet, but I never remember writing. I stop trying to destroy them. The more I burn, the faster they come back. One night, I took the entire stack to the incinerator chute in the basement. Hours later, I found a new one placed gently on my pillow. It was warm, still smelled like fire. Inside, now you've made room for the final volume. That was the night I heard my voice from the hallway. Not an echo, not sleep paralysis. My voice, down to the breath, speaking gently from behind the front door. It said, "Let me in. I need to finish writing." I didn't move. I didn't respond. But my body wanted to. My legs felt light, hollowed out, like I was already halfway to the door before my mind caught up. I wedged a chair beneath the knob. The next morning, the chair was back at the table, and there was a journal under the doorframe, stamped with my name. Inside, an entry titled Transition. It described, in exact detail, what I'd done that night. Even the fear. Even the way I pressed my fingers to the wall to ground myself. Then it continued. Tomorrow, he will realize he's not the only one narrating now. Tomorrow, he will feel something inside him writing back. It was signed at the bottom. My name. And then, beneath it, the symbol I'd seen once before etched in the margins of a dream, drawn in reverse across the mirror. A looping spiral that fed into itself, tapering into a single point like the eye of a needle. That night, I felt the writing start. Not on paper. Inside. In the bone. Something scratched at the base of my spine like pen against marrow. My teeth ached. My eyes watered for no reason. I coughed once and tasted ink. My thoughts fragmented into sentence fragments, images, stutters of half-formed ideas. As if I were being copied line by line. Not to be erased. To be reformatted. I'm no longer sure which thoughts are mine. Which fears are mine. Which memories are mine. I found a new journal on the desk this morning. It was empty. But when I opened the cover, I saw a message written in trembling black at the bottom. This is where you begin. Not where I begin. You? because now it's your story. The next journal appears in your room, and when it does, don't write in it. But don't ignore it either, because once the story starts, it doesn't stop until it's written all the way through.